Okay, shalom and Shavua Tov, and welcome back, Bezrat Hashem. We're continuing with Rav Noson's amazing, beautiful letter. We went in off tangent a lot on the greatness of Rebbe Nachman and this term that people don't really know about, Nachal Novea Mikor Chochma, a flowing brook, a source of wisdom, Bezrat Hashem. So we're going to go over a little and continue where we left off and see Rav Noson's next quotation and how we can understand the context of what he's saying in the quotation from a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. Okay, so let's go over again from the beginning of the letter quickly and to get into where we're holding now. So he says like this again. This is letter 442. It's from Parshat Vayishlach, a Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning, 1844, approximately a year before Rav Noson passes away. And he's in the middle of writing one of his most beautiful and longest discourses in the Likutei Halachot, the laws of giving thanks, and which talks about the unbelievable power of Simcha and its far-reaching effect and how that's the key for everything right now. The key for Mashiach, the key to get the Jews back and everything back in order and the Jews to come out of what's called the Chamber of Exchanges. Everything is through Simcha. That's the key. When you know that you have to invest in Simcha, that's it. You have your world. You made your world. Instead of getting caught up in all the tiny nitty gritty of life and just falling into what's called katut demochin, constricted consciousness, you say, wait a second. I know this is a test. I know they want me to be sad and stressed and uptight and upside down. That's what they want. It's not what's happening. It's the attitude that they're trying to get out of me. I'm not going to let that happen. No way. So a person who has the merit to remember that and to remember to be b'simcha, he won. He won the battle already. And even if he keeps on falling, the fact that he remembers that simcha is the key, he eventually wins the battle. Bezrat Hashem. Fine. Just one thing here. Okay, so we're continuing with this letter. Michtavav kibalti ima michtav Rebbe Shimshon. I received your letters, my son Rav Yitzchak, with the letter of Rav Shimshon. Now, regarding you, my son, I already wrote a lot to you, that which is enough to give you life to your soul, to give life to your soul. This is what we spoke about 2 weeks ago. And more than what I wrote to you in my letters, my son, look in Rebbe Nachman's teachings. And also look in the insights that I merited to expound, explain, and innovate new insights in his teachings, Rebbe Nachman's teachings, with the help of Hashem. Shekulam, because all my teachings, everything that I wrote, Rav Noson writes, Nov'im midvarav. Everything that I wrote emanates from his words, Rebbe Nachman's words, from the Nachal Novea Mikor Chochma, from the flowing brook, the source of wisdom. And now Rav Noson quotes pieces of a very special and amazing Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. The quotation is Hafoch Bahem, and it's not word for word. Again, it's taken from the Mishnah. Hafoch Bahem, Vafoch Bahem, Vesiv Uvle Bahem. Before we get into Rav Noson's quotation, it's important to see the actual Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. It's a famous Mishnah, and let's see word for word the Mishnah. And let's see what Rav Noson quoted and re-expressed and why he skipped, what he skipped and what he's stressing. The Mishnah reads like this. This is Pirkei Avot, chapter 5, Mishnah 22. Ben Bagbag Omer, a very famous Mishnah. There's many songs on this Mishnah. Ben Bagbag says, this person was called Bagbag. They say he was a child of converts. So Bag stands for Ben Gerim. And why twice? They say Ben Ger, he was the son of male converts, and Ben Gioret, he was the son of a female convert. So he's a son of a convert. The next Mishnah is Ben Hehe, he's also the son of converts. They have funny names, they're covered up. There's many reasons given. One of them is that they shouldn't be made known to the Roman government that they converted, so they have to hide their identity. These two Tzadikim, Rav Chaim Vital writes in the name of the Arizal, they're buried somewhere in a forest today, which is called the Forest of the Baal Shem Tov, which is located close to Tzfat, right next to Tzfat, below Tzfat, in between Tzfat and Meron, in that direction. We don't know exactly where the Kvarim are, but they're towards the end of this forest. There's a kever there of Uriah, the high priest from the first temple. There's a kever of Rabbi Yeva Sava from the Zohar. And somewhere in that area, we don't know exactly where, is Ben Bagbag and Ben Hehe. In any event, he's called Ben Bagbag. We're going to go into his name also on a deeper meaning. He says the following. Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba. Learn the Torah and turn in the Torah. Hafoch ba. In other words, learn and delve and flip the pages of the Torah. Flip yourself in the Torah. Spend your time in the Torah. Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba. Keep on turning lessons, everything you learn, upside down and right side up. Keep on switching in the Torah, turning around the Torah. The chol haba, because everything in life is in the Torah. Everything you need in life to know is in the Torah. You don't need to waste time elsewhere. Everything you need in life is in the Torah. Uba techeze, and in the Torah, there's two explanations, there's a few explanations. You should set your sight in the Torah. Another explanation is, and through the Torah, you'll be able to see properly in the world. Uba techeze, you'll be able to see clearly what's happening in the world. Vesiv uvleba, and grow old. Siv, it's in Aramaic. Uvleba, and also get gray over the Torah. Umina latezua, and from the Torah, don't budge, don't move from it. She'en lecha midat tova hemena, because you have nothing better, you have no better attribute than the Torah. Everything you have in life is in the Torah. If you try to go elsewhere, you're wasting your time, really. Everything's in the Torah, okay? Half the Mishnah is written in Aramaic, half is written in Hebrew. There are reasons given for that, beseder. Fochba. If we'll find it, we'll mention the point. But the Arizal, he explains a bit of depth in this Mishnah. His code name is Bug. Bet Gimel, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, that's 5. So 5 and 5, the son of 5. What's 5? The Arizal says, in the Kabbalah, there's what's called the 5 chasadim and the 5 gvurot. The 5 chasadim are 5 sections of kindnesses from the energy of the Sfirot that come down to bring down light and energy and nourishment down. And then the 5 gvurot are also used to bring up from the bottom, from below, what the world does to bring it up. But there's 2 directions. There's the Hey chasadim going down, and then the Hey gvurot are going up. So he says, his wording is, Ben Bagbag, this is how the Arizal explains it, and we're going to just explain a bit more depth. Hafoch ba. In other words, the light of the Torah, which is contained in the 5 chasadim, turn it down. Hafoch means to switch, to turn. Hafoch ba, turn the Torah downwards, and then after you brought it down, turn it back up. Hafoch ba. That's why twice hafoch ba, vafoch ba. Switch it down, and then switch it back up. In other words, energy comes down initially from up above down. That's like the initial Torah that you're learning. And then what you gain from it and the insights that you gain from it, you bring back up. So hafoch ba, turn it down below. Let the Torah come to you. Internalize it. And then hafoch ba, turn it back up. Send it back up to Hashem with your insights, your innovations, your renewed energy that you get from the Torah. That you switch back up. And then the Mishnah says, because everything's in it, the chol haba, this is all of life in this already. Everything you need for sustenance to be sustained in this world on a spiritual level is in the Torah, in this procedure of learning initially, which is from up to down, and then your feedback from the Torah that you've learned, which is down to up. So hafoch ba, and then hafoch ba, the chol haba, uba techeze, and with the Torah you'll be able to see. To see what? To see right through this whole creation. To see right through the secrets of everything, to understand the deeper meaning of everything. Instead of being superficial and fake, superficial, like a very low level, surface level attitude, you have a depth now. You see things on a deeper level. You begin to have the eyes of tzadikim. Rebbe Nachman says on the verse in Tehillim, Enei Hashem el tzadikim, that the eyes of Hashem are upon the tzadikim, which means, Rebbe Nachman explains like this, Hashem gives his eyes, which are X-ray eyes, to see right through people, to see right through the creation, to get, not to be caught up by false interpretations, by the media, by people, by the news. You want to have a true perspective of life? These eyes of Hashem, El Tzadikim, the Tzadikim have those eyes. The Tzadikim, because of their work, they're toiling over the Torah, and then they're doing something about it. They're getting energized, insights, innovations, being changed because the Torah, that hafoch ba v'hafoch ba, gives them the ability, ubatechezeh, they begin to see. Now more than this, vesiv uvle ba, get old over the Torah and get gray over the Torah. You're going to get old, you're going to get gray, let it be on the Torah. Don't let it be, he's like, a guy who wasted his whole life just working and feeding his family, and no Yiddishkeit, no Torah, nothing. So what does he have to be old over? What value did he give his life to? As opposed to someone who spent his whole life or his time invested in Torah study and Torah application. So the oldness and the greatness has a value, has a super duper value over it, you know? It's like, there's a story told that when Rav Elimelech of Lizhensk passed away, I think it's Rav Elimelech or the Chose of Lublin, one of the two. So somebody wanted to buy his kippah for a crazy amount of money, like 200 gold coins for the kippah. So the Rebbitzin was so impressed that someone wants to buy with so much money her husband's kippah. So she said, maybe I'll wash it first. So she washed the kippah to get it clean, and she gave it to the man. He said, here's the kippah. And he said, but I wanted his shvitz. I wanted the shvitz and the kippah. I'm going to pay 200 gold coins for a kippah, that's expensive. I wanted his energy that he toiled when davening and learning in his kippah. I want that. That's what I wanted for 200 gold coins. I wanted what he invested, not the kippah itself, okay? So this idea that when a person grows old and gray over the Torah, so his oldness and his greatness has a value. It has a major value. Okay, so he's saying in the Mishnah, get old, and it's in Aramaic. All this is in Aramaic. Vesiv uvleba, get old and gray over the Torah. Umina la tezu, and from the Torah, don't budge, don't move, don't waste your time on other things. Chaval. The Mishnah is telling you, you want the greatest investment. Yeah, but I have to work, I have to parnasa. Okay, but the Torah is the source of all the nourishment in the world. If you're smart, you invest in the Torah, and you'll see how Hashem takes care. Hashem brings the shefa and the bracha through the Torah, not a problem. If you want to learn how to be a good person, and you want to gain attributes to give value in your life in this world, it's in the Torah. There's no greater midah. Normally when you say midot tovot, it's like, I'm working on myself to work on anger, humility, trust in Hashem, emunah. So why is he calling the Torah a midah tova? There's no greater midah, actuality, good behavior. Torah is a study. What is a midah tova? So he's showing you that the Torah study itself, eventually it changes a person. Yes, you have wives, they say, sometimes they get upset to husbands, look at you. You learn Torah and look, you didn't change, you're still a shmengi, you're still a fat guy, you still haven't changed. Look at you, you're like your anger is still there. But the truth is not like that. The truth is that eventually the Torah, it takes time, but when it sinks in, it changes a person. The Torah can take someone who's like a street boy, like wild and cursing and that. The Torah can transform him to become responsible, to have good midot, to have chesed and rachamim. That's the power of the Torah. It takes time. Or a person is learning the wrong area of the Torah above his true level, and that's why the Torah is not changing him. He has to learn things a bit lower. He may be after the intellectual understanding of the Torah, and he got the wrong point. He's supposed to aim more for like ethics and musar and midrash. Sometimes a person, his learning Torah is so high that it's not influencing him, it's not healing him. So there could be that a person has to learn different areas of the Torah, okay? Or, like we said, it just takes time. He's learning the right things, but it's a point of time. Okay, this is the Mishnah, an amazing Mishnah, quoted many times. And Rav Nosson in his letters, he tells his son over and over again quotations from this Mishnah. Here, if you take a look, he's quoting 3 or 4 specific points, pieces from this Mishnah. Okay, the Mishnah said, if you remember, Ben Bagbag said, Hafoch ba, turn in the Torah, va'afoch ba, okay? That's the point. Look at Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson says to his son, Hafoch bahem. Go over them. And go over them. Va'afoch bahem. Again, he's quoting the Mishnah, but he's saying bahem, in them. And he skips. He skips everything's in the Torah, and in the Torah you will see. He skips all that, and he goes to and go old and gray over them. So why is he saying them? Them is referring to the 3 categories that we mentioned earlier in his letter. He said, Rebbe Nachman, there's his letters, there's Rebbe Nachman's teachings, and there's his insights that Rebbe Nachman developed on Rebbe Nachman's teachings in his Likutei Halachot. So it's going on all 3. And each one has a different perspective. Hafoch ba, the first initial hafoch ba, he says bahem, but really it goes on the first of the 3 categories. Learn Rebbe Nachman's teachings. Learn his Likutei Moran, learn his conversation. When learning a tzaddik's teachings, so it's now, like we said in the initial explanation from the Arizal, it's going from up to down. Hafoch ba, turn the Torah down towards you. When you learn a tzaddik's teachings, so you're bringing it down to you, and you'll be amazed how much it talks to you, how much it's exactly what you're going through. So hafoch ba, turn the Torah of the tzaddik down to you, learn it. And then hafoch ba is referring to Rav Nosson's insights in Rebbe Nachman's teachings, which he wrote in his book Likutei Halachot. Likutei Halachot is not a normal book. We spoke about this book many, many times. It's literally a gateway to Gan Eden. When you learn it, you feel like you just came from a different world, a different experience. This book has such a power to wake up people like in no other way. I bumped into, in Uman Rosh Hashanah, a guy who was still not married. He's like in his late 20s, whatever. And I remember him maybe 6-7 years ago when he wasn't looking for Breslov, but he was looking for a place to sleep. And the only place he found was in a Breslov Beit Midrash here in Yerushalayim. And he wasn't so much into Breslov, but he had friends who were Breslovers. They told him to come and to stay there. So I remember seeing him, and he's learning all these books on philosophy, all these weird things. And he's not opening any of the Breslov books yet. And he's in the Beit Midrash learning and talking, and he's all these weird ideas and things. And I was like on the side laughing a little. But I was saying, well, let's wait and see. To go to Uman, no, he's not interested, not yet. He's just dorming there. And he stayed a year, another year, and he got closer to the Breslovers there. And then I was shocked. I was like, for years, they say to him, come to Uman. He says, no, not yet. No, it's not for me. It's not for me. He came from a very LiTerufah background, but also with a lot of philosophy. He liked learning books of philosophy. So eventually, it got to him. Like after 4 or 5 years, I finally saw him in Uman Rosh Hashanah. I was saying, what? You? He said, yeah, of course, finally, Rabbeinu. I was cracking up. I said, finally, wow. I was amazed. But still, I can see he wasn't yet into the Breslov books and the Breslov Hashkafa. He was just there for the experience. But it was so powerful for him, he came back again and again. And this year I saw him again. And I said to him, so what's up, man? Are you learning now Breslov Sfarim? He said, what are you talking about? I can't live without Likutei Halachot. I can't live without it now. What a book. I was shocked. You see, it did it by itself. No one rebuked him, no one told him off, or maybe they did, but he was so stubborn, you couldn't talk to him. It came from him, it looks like it came from him. And I was just shocked how he's saying now Likutei Halachot is literally changing his life. I really hope he gets married, B'ezrat Hashem, and he gets his act together, B'ezrat Hashem. But this is Likutei Halachot. Likutei Halachot is called Likutei Halachot because it's a way how to walk. It teaches you how to walk. Like a child, you have to teach him how to walk. You hold the hands, and he starts walking, and he falls, but you keep on holding the hands until the baby starts to walk. So Likutei Halachot is the Tzadikim, Rav Nosson especially, training us how to walk as a Jew. Very simple. It's how to walk and behave like a Jew, to have emunah like a Jew, to have prayer like a Jew, bitachon, trust like a Jew, humility like a Jew, simcha like a Jew, Torah style, thinking like a Jew, monetary activities, tzedakah, compassion like a Jew. That's a Jew supposed to be. And Baruch Hashem, the Likutei Halachot is very successful in changing people's lives and attitudes, infusing them with basics of Judaism. So in this sense, it's hafochba, the second hafochba. Okay, it's now, once Rebbe Nachman's teachings come down, Rav Noson's interpretation, how he explains Rebbe Nachman's teachings, lifts a person upwards. You're so invigorated with energy, it's unbelievable. Now that's the second hafochba. So hafochba hem is the initial teaching of the tzaddik coming down. That's like Rebbe Nachman's teachings. V'hafochba hem, the second one, is Rav Noson's insights lifting back another upwards, and then he skips and go old and gray over them. What are you going old and gray over? This is the third section of the letters, the conversations, the mundane conversations. They say in Breslov like this. Rav Moshe Breslover, one of Rav Noson's main disciples, he would say like this. There's a famous teaching of in the Gemara, Gadol shimusha yoter milimuda. The learning, practical application of the Torah is greater than actually studying the Torah. Meaning, if you have physical access, contact with a Rav, a Tzaddik, a Torah scholar, observing how he talks, how he conducts himself, how he does things, is even greater than just learning from books. If you have access to a living rabbi, a living tzaddik, a living Torah scholar, you'll gain more from that than from just learning. If you have an option of that or to learn in Torah books, okay, if you can't do both, so you should choose over them the observing and being around Talmidei Chachamim. It'll brush off on you. You'll pick up so many things that you would never get even in a million years if you're just learning in textbooks and books and books of the Torah. Okay, so that's the teaching of the rabbis in the Mishnah, the Gemara. So Rav Moshe Breslover would say like this: don't read shimusha. The word in Hebrew is gadol shimusha. Shimusha means serving Torah scholars, being around them and taking care of them, so you can observe and learn. The word shimusha in Hebrew, Rav Moshe Breslover would say, is similar to the Yiddish word of shmuzin. Shimusha is like shmuzin. Shmuzin means, what's the shmuz? Okay, let's shmuz. Shmuz is like casual talk. Shmuzin, I want to shmuz. So Rav Moshe Breslover would say, the shmuzing, the casual talks of the Breslover chasadim is greater than the learning of the Breslov teachings, of the Breslov books. In other words, the mundane talk, casual talk, and what's encoded in them, the more lessons you get by being around the Breslov chasadim, hearing how they talk, how they joke, how they, what they say, mundane speaking, is greater than the learning from the books. You'll gain much more. People say, Rav Levi Yitzhak Bender did like this, he did like that, Rav Chaim Rosen did like this, Rav Gedaliah Koenig did like this. When people saw what previous generation of Breslovers did, so it stuck with them more. It goes inside. I saw him do like this, and that's why I'm doing that. I saw my Rav do like that. I saw him do. The seeing is so much greater than just learning in the book. The observing, that's what it's saying. So here also the shmuzin, the casual conversations that the Breslovers had amongst themselves, you gain so much more from that than from learning in the books. Okay? Rav Noson once said, I gain more from a regular conversation of Rebbe Nachman more than his deepest teachings in the Likutei Moran. Likutei Moran, Torah at the highest of levels, and Rav Noson saying, I gained on a practical level more from Rebbe Nachman's casual conversations with me more than his Torah conversations. Because in the casual talk, especially of the Breslov chasadim, especially of Noson, is encoded many more lessons. Even though you see a lot of mundanity, I sent this letter with you and I didn't get back and you still have to give me the rubles and with this money do this. You have a lot of physical exchange. What's here? Encoded in these conversations. That's why these letters are recorded. These letters are not just stories, okay, what happened to Rav Noson. It's details hidden within them. points of contact that you only get from these casual conversations in this format. So on that level, which is a deeper level, the Mishnah is saying, go old and gray over them. On this area, you're gonna have to work hard. You're gonna have to exert yourself to try to pick up the hidden messages in the casual conversations, and it's worth investing time and not to look at it as a waste of time. They're the schmoozing and schmoozing. Bittul Torah, I want to learn. It's many times very important to stop and listen to the casual conversations of the Breslov chasadim. You pick up major moral lessons for life from little tiny things that you can't express in writing. You can't express it in learning it. So it's in a conversation format. In there, hidden a lot. Okay, these three groups are also available in the Breslov chasadim. These three sections. You have Breslov chasadim who are interested in the actual da'at of Rebbe Nachman. They're interested. Their thing is the intellectual part of Breslov. They like the Torahs, the ideas, the concepts. Those are the first type of Breslov chasadim. Then you are those who like to take like an emotional, personal application of it and what I can do with it, and to interpret it on a practical level, and to boost myself on a practical level what I can do with it. So again, the first group, people who like what's called in Hebrew the yediot. They like the information in Breslov. They're very hot on the information in Breslov. The second group are those who are looking, okay, what does this mean to me? How can I internalize this? What can I do with it? It's also an amazing thing. Then you have the third group of Breslovers who are into nostalgia. They're into the stories of the Breslovers. You know, Rebbe Yitzchak, he did like this, and this is what happened. No, it's not true. He sang it like this. He didn't sing it like that. On Rosh Hashanah davening, he decided to change I'm just saying an example. You have people in Breslov who are into the nostalgia. All three are needed. All three groups are important, and you can't say, he missed the point. All three are needed. The yediot, the information, the knowledge in Breslov teachings, the inspiration and what I can do with it, and the nostalgia, the people and the stories. He said like this and he said like that, and each one has its place. The third one is the most difficult one, because in there is really hidden hard the message is supposed to pick up. So on that, Pirkei Avot says, Rav Noson's quoted Pirkei Avot, V'siv uvle bahem, go old and gray over them. So he's referring to, we can assume, his letters, his words of encouragement that he gave in the letters, in the letter format. His son can easily, Rabbi Yitzchak has access to Rebbe Nachman's teachings. He has access to his father's insights in Likutei Halachot, and still he's acting so thirsty like he has nothing. He's acting to his father, I'm waiting so badly for your letter. You have no idea. We don't see Rabbi Yitzchak's letters to his father. You don't see when he wrote to Rav Nosson. But the way Rav Nosson's answering to him, he said, I already wrote you a lot. So the way he's talking, it shows that Rabbi Yitzchak is always like pushing his father, if you can write me a letter, I need some encouragement. So Rav Nosson says, but you have already Likutei Moharan and Likutei Halachot. Still, the third section, which is the letters, the conversations, the nostalgia part, the details of this and that, and in that to put words of encouragement and enlightenment, that's really the hard part, but that's really a one that you have to work hard to get to. So Rav Nosson is indicating in the letter all three. Okay? He says, Afoch bahem, v'afoch bahem, b'siv uvlei bahem. Again, v'chul, etc. Turn his teachings, Rebbe Nachman's teachings, upside down, from downside up, from upside down, and then from downside up, v'afoch bahem, v'siv uvlei bahem, and go old and gray over them. That's all three sections in the Breslov teachings. Okay? And he goes on. V'afal pichen, but nonetheless, even though I told you that I wrote to you already a lot, and you have Rebbe Nachman's teachings in front of you, and you have my insights in front of you, nonetheless, nonetheless, it was my desire to expand what I'm writing here to you, according to your tshuka, according to your yearning, your good yearning to hear from me words. So I did want to write more in this letter, because this is technically a short letter, by the way. It's a very short letter, letter 442. But he says, Rav Nosson, I'm not going to do that. But he's quoting from, I think it's Kohelet, but Hashem made everything right and proper in its right time. Because Rav Nosson was busy all at the same time writing two letters. Writing a letter to Rav Shimshon, like we saw in the beginning, and also to Rav Ephraim, another one, in Kremenchug. And he sent, Rav Nosson, who lived in Breslov, would send all of his mail through his son in Tulchin, because Rav Yitzchak was in charge of the post office, and he could ensure that the letters get to wherever they have to get to faster and more efficiently. So Rav Nosson decided to send all of his letters to Tulchin, to his son, and from there he would send them to the right places. So he's adding letters within letters. He's saying, I'm anyway sending letters to Rav Ephraim and Rav Shimshon, so I'm not going to write you a separate letter. Rather, I want you to read their letters, and what you need for yourself is in these letters. Watch this. This is a very important point, and we'll stop at this point. He says like this. But everything Hashem did right in its proper time. Sha'ata, that now, הוכרחתי לשלוח לידו מכתב לרבי שמשון נרו יאיר ולרבי אפרים נרו יאיר לקרומנצ'ג. Because right at this time right now, while at the same time that I'm writing you this letter, I have to send through you, my son Rav Yitzchak, a letter to Rav Shimshon, may his light shine, and to Rav Ephraim, may his light shine, both who are in Kremenchug. Okay? So I said to myself, Rav Nosson is saying to his son, Zikaron echad ole lechan ulechan. One memory, one remembrance adds up for here and here. In other words, I don't have to write you, my son, a separate letter. I can write one letter to them, and what I write to them will be applicable also to you. This is one of the most phenomenal things about Breslov teachings, is that you say one thing, and 50, 60, 100, 200 people can be listening, and each one says, whoa, that's talking directly to me. And he said one thing, but each person felt, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear. How could it be? This is the power of Breslov. This is the power of Rebbe Nachman's teachings. This is really how the Torah is, really. But to have that happen, you have to be on a high level to be able to experience that when learning Chumash, Tanakh, Mishnah, Gemara, Midrash, Zohar, Kabbalah. You need to have some accessibility to a higher level to see how the Torah is talking directly to you. You need a merit. It happens once in a while to anybody, even learning a Rashi, whatever. That you have to have a merit for that to happen. But it does happen. But by Breslov teachings, it happens automatically. It just opens up and people feel this is exactly what I need to write. For example, I write letters to people and I have a piece of encouragement that I send to somebody and I say, this is good for the rest of the world to hear. So I post it in a post and people say, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now. What did I did nothing. I'm just taking a quotation from Rebbe Nachman's teachings, posting it. I read it in one letter and then sharing it, and everyone feels, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Where's that coming from? That's the power of Rebbe Nachman's teachings, that each person feels they're talking directly to them. So if Nosson felt the freedom to leave the letters open, he told his son, you can see what I'm writing to Rav Ephraim and Rav Shimshon, and you'll see they're talking directly to you too. I don't have to write you a separate idea. And also, Rav Nosson was too busy. Rav Nosson wrote super fast, by the way. His writing was sometimes hard to read because he wrote so fast, the letters would run into one another. Rav Nosson did everything fast. He was so busy because he said to himself, I have so much to do, and there's so much opposition against what I have to do from the evil side. Who knows if I'll have the chance to do it? So I do things fast. That way it's out there, it's out. Okay, afterwards people can try to go over what I wrote and this is what he meant. But he did things very fast. Sometimes like Rebbe Nachman Tulchiner, who's the one who prepared for press, for printing, Rav Nosson's insights, there were times he had difficulty trying to understand what he was writing because he wrote so fast, and it took time for him to go over and over until he got what he said, and then he was able to submit it for the printing press to publish. So Rav Nosson, he wrote fast, and he was busy, doing a lot. So he didn't have time my son, I have to write you a letter. He wrote a lot, but if there's an opportunity to join everyone in one letter, and it was at the same time, that's what he's saying here, so he took the opportunity for that. We'll stop here, because this was really power-packed, and we should be zoche to you see how every word Rav Nosson says in his letters, there's depth, there's meaning, even though it's mundanity. Once this tzaddik shines into him, then everything takes a different meaning. It's like, the analogy is not 100%, but in Rebbe Nachman's stories, the first story of the lost princess, the princess is trying to wake up the viceroy, and he's not waking up. So she takes off she has like her head covering, her mitpachat or techale. She takes a piece of the techale, and with her tears, she writes letters on the mitpachat, on the techale, on her head covering. After he woke up after 70 years, he asked his servant, "Where am I?" He said, "You were sleeping for 70 years. And he said, "What's this?" He said, "Well, the princess was here. She tried to wake you up. You didn't wake up. So she put this, and she wrote stuff with her tears." So he took it. You can't read with tears. So what did he do? He put it up to the sun, and with the sunlight, he was able to read out the letters. I am no longer in where I was. Now you have to look for the mountain of the mountain of gold, and the castle of diamonds, of pearls. Okay, so he's able to see that only once he lifted up to the sun. So they say the sun is the light of the tzaddik, and the message is that with the tears of the Shekhinah of your neshama, what's crying out, the interpretation of what's happened, where to find, where to locate. If you have to lift it up to the tzaddik, he shines his light so you can see where to go now, what direction in life you have to take in life. Okay, so by Rav Nosson now, Rebbe Nachman took Rav Nosson, and now every word of Rav Nosson is like shining to the light of the tzaddikim of Rebbe Nachman, and has deep meaning. His mundane talk is no longer mundane talk. It has depth. It's what the rabbi said. Afilu sichat chulin shetamidei chachamim tzarich limud. The rabbis teach that even the casual talk of Torah scholars now requires learning. You have to learn it. That's what we spoke about before. Rav Nosson, everything now was connected to the Rebbe. His whole life he gave over to Rebbe Nachman. So that means even his mundanity is connected to this tzaddik, and everything is replete with deep meaning. You just need to have the eyes to see what's going on. So you may read a letter, I'll send you this letter and this and that, but inside our messages, we should be zochet to pick them up. Be'ezrat Hashem. Thank you for joining. Shalom, shalom.